condemned because East Jerusalem is Palestinian territory, illegally occupied by Israel. Aljazeera's Natasha Ghanem reports from the protests in the Turkish capital, Ankara.
The Turks have always been passionate about the Palestinian cause. Despite the Ankara chill, protesters spent 3 hours listening to music and speeches. They waved Turkish and Palestinian flags and a fair amount of anti-American signs.
Turkey is a majority Muslim country that acts unified and together. It should lead in the Muslim world. If Muslims are united, I'm hopeful the Jerusalem problem will be sorted.
Since U.S. President Donald Trump broke with decades of American policy and recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, the Turkish street has been vocal. And President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has emerged as a potent advocate for Palestinians. He's pushing for leaders to take their condemnation and transform it into action. Erdogan is taking his case to the UN Security Council, where he says he hopes to, quote, annul Trump's decision. It's unlikely he'll get much traction, given that the United States holds veto power. But he says, barring success there, he'll move on to the UN General Assembly. It's clear Turkey plans on continuing to persist and highlight this issue on the geopolitical stage.
I am actually very glad of the Trump Jerusalem decision, as it serves to unite the Muslim world and get them into action.
In the most populous Muslim country, an estimated 80,000 Indonesians marched to the American embassy in Jakarta. Muslim clerics are calling for a boycott of American and Israeli products until Trump reverses his decision.
I want all Muslims to unite and to urge the President of America to reconsider his decision for the good of all of humanity.
That's unlikely, considering that Trump says this is a recognition of reality, and it's in the best interests of the U.S. and the Israeli-Palestinian peace process. But protesters don't see it that way. In Karachi, thousands showed up for what was called the Holy City Million March. Almost 2 weeks after Trump's announcement, people continue to show their solidarity for Palestinians, and in doing so, have also revived global attention to their plight. Natasha Ghanem, Aljazeera, Ankara.
Well, as Natasha mentioned there, the UN Security Council will vote on Monday on a draft resolution submitted by Egypt, calling for the US recognition of Jerusalem to be withdrawn. The Egyptian resolution affirms that any decisions and actions which purport to have altered the character, status, or demographic composition of the holy city of Jerusalem have no legal effect, are null and void, and must be rescinded in compliance with relevant resolutions of the Security Council. For more on that, Mike Hanna reports from New York.
The draft resolution being circulated in the United Nations has been drawn up by Egypt with input from other parties, it would appear. Now, the resolution may change in form or shape before it's actually voted upon, probably in this coming day. However, the resolution as it stands at the moment does not mention the US by name. I understand that various parties, such as the United Kingdom and indeed Egypt, wanted to try and keep the language as neutral as possible in an attempt, possibly vain, to keep the US from exercising its veto within the Security Council. The resolution as it stands at the moment is actually a restatement of the UN's position on Jerusalem as outlined through decades of Security Council and General Assembly's resolution, the most recent being in November this year, in which the General Assembly voted overwhelmingly to declare any unilateral acts in Jerusalem as null and void. That phrase, null and void, is contained in the current draft resolution. The draft resolution calls on all states to refrain from establishing diplomatic missions within Jerusalem. I understand the Palestinians somewhat angered. They did want to single out the US by name. However, it appears from this draft resolution that Egypt and the UK have had their way in attempt to avoid that US veto. However, it would appear that that veto is likely to happen with Israel's enthusiastic backing, which describes the resolution as a Palestinian attempt to reinvent history, despite the fact that it is rooted on UN resolutions as they stand at present. but Palestinians making very clear that should the US veto this resolution in the Security Council, they will attempt to have it reintroduced in the General Assembly where there's no veto at play.
At least 9 people have been killed after 2 suicide bombers attacked a church in southwest Pakistan. Gunmen wearing explosive vests tried to storm the Christian Methodist church in the city of Quetta. Police shot one of them dead while the other exploded his suicide vest. ISIL has claimed responsibility for the attack. Kamal Haider has more from Islamabad.
An attack on a Methodist church in the city of Quetta, the provincial capital of Balochistan province, leaves a number of people dead. Many more are wounded. Now, according to the security forces, this church had come under attack a few years ago, and because of that, there was heavy guard present to guard the worshippers who were present at Sunday Mass. Now, according to details, up to 400 women and children and worshippers were present inside the church. However, it was the timely action by the security guards that killed at least one of the attackers at the gate. The other one was able to get close to the hall, however unable to penetrate inside as he too was engaged and blew himself up. So indeed, a deadly attack once again on a church at a time when across the country there was a red alert because of the Christmas holidays, and also the fact that there have been attacks in the past against shrines and mosques as well.
At least 11 Afghan police officers have been killed by the Taliban in Helmand province. The assaults on the 2 police posts happened in Lashkargah. They're the latest in a series of attacks on Afghan security forces claimed by the Taliban. The armed group has a strong and growing presence in Helmand. Now, the counting of votes is underway in the home state of the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The ruling party, the BJP, has controlled the western region of Gujarat for 22 years, but it's facing a tough challenge from the opposition Congress party, with allegations of corruption against local BJP leaders. The Congress also campaigned on economic issues such as the new goods and services tax, but exit polls suggest a win for Modi's party. Let's get more from Divya Gopalan. She joins us live from Gujarat's largest city, Ahmedabad. So Divya, what's the mood like ahead of the results, and what are people there expecting?
Darren, the atmosphere here is charged. People are watching this so closely, primarily for the main reason that people are either on Team Congress or Team BJP. The one thing about this state is that it's very clearly divided along these political lines, and so people now see Congress as having a chance for the first time in decades to either win a large number of seats, if not win a majority, which would mean that they could govern the state next. And so everyone is watching their screens very closely, checking social media constantly. In fact, just beyond these police barricades, there's a massive screen set up and there are crowds gathered around it. What we're seeing right now is trends coming out as the counting ensues. It's been 3 hours into counting. Usually by this time you will get a clear trend, usually in favor of the BJP, but this time we're not seeing that. What we're seeing is a very, very close race. And so people are watching this as closely as, the best way I can describe it is as closely as they would a cricket match in this country.
And Divya, why is this election of such great interest to the rest of the country?
That's right, Darren. It's not just here that this race is being watched so closely, also across the other states in this country. And one of the main reasons, as you mentioned, is that Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister, used to be Chief Minister of this state for 13 years, and he's personally invested himself in the campaign for the BJP to win this state. He's shown up in several campaigns, and he's flown down here from New Delhi to cast his vote in a very public manner, and that's unheard of. Now, he sees this, or many see this, as a loss, would be a personal affront to him, rejection of his policies, and would be a huge sign that the BJP is not continuing his path to popularity. Whereas for Congress, who recently had a new leader, Rahul Gandhi, this would basically define him as the leader of that party, the main opposition party. This will also give the party confidence in the next 8 state elections which are coming up, and perhaps give them a chance to win in those elections. They've done really badly in recent elections, and therefore set the tone for the direction of the leadership of this country.
Divya, thank you. Some here in Aljazeera, including Donald Trump, prepares to lay out his vision for America's national security. and trying to make a good, clean living, we meet migrants seeking a better life